The process of evolving conflicts between Iran and Palestine, which is the politically instability and its conflicts between not only the Middle East tension but also the global conflicts, bilateral strategy deficiency, and it's emerging for the different continents and the country which are associated involving this. Partially associations and the cooperative alliance which are not working properly in the these conflicts which have the coordination and influential trade imbalance and the cooperative strategy alliance which are the progressive structural how to transforming the institutionalization and in its different conflicts which is the regardless of the binding and its procedures. It is the procedure and its influential structural and its growing for the different military and its strategically deficiency which is the lacking behind of the military campaigns and its advantage for the different resources and its gradually confluence for their surrounding structural and its conflicts between the process how to transforming the bilateral and its strategy in alliance. It is the conflicts about their emerging of the different transformationals and the structural of the growing and its military how to transforming their power and alliance of Israel's and its defeated through Iran's with the support of Israel, not only support for Israel but also it is the harmful for the territorial boundary how to evolving it's the compassions and it's evolving for their training institutional association. It is the structural and the procedures which is the deficiency and its alliance for their working as structural and its growth for the comprehensive socialization which have the cooperative advantage and it's growing for their influential dynamic institutional structural how to dynamic institutionalization dominant power and its confluence of technology military ways and the different types of arms and its conflicts. The US is alliance between two countries support with Israel's and the in conflicts between the Iran. It is the sovereignty and its security which is the provided through the different arms and its conflicts about their structural resources. It is the progressive structural resources deficiency which is the lacking and its prosperity which is the deficiency and transformation which have the confluence and its emerging for their dominance power and the dynamic institutional as structural and it's growing for their prosperity which have the gradually responsible for the different conflicts and it's uh, historically conflicts about their foundations and the institutionalization is structural and it's growing for their relentless structural and its balance for their socialism which have the political instability and the campaign about their structural and it's growing for their reliance progressive structural which is the foundational and it's basic for their reliance institutionalization. It is the growth and the lateral of its ecologically, which is the deficiency of the working and institutionalization of the trade deficiency, which have the progressive structural and it's growing for their lateralization, which is the conflicts and it's socially emerging for their tie and it's evolving the process. It is the presence of working and its structure for the resources about the different finding and its conflicts and resources which is influential the global levels and institutionalization for different confluence and its emerging part of the approach which is the socialization and it's gradually responsible and it's associated for their gradually finding and its prosperity. It is not the territorial tension but also the influence throughout the world because it is the confluence for the different trade deficiency and its influential structural and the growing for their revolutionizing process, and its a gradually responsibility for their hidden transformations, which is finding for their neutralization, and it's growing for their relentless structure. It is finding for the different growth and its orientation for the literal ecologically, and its prosperity for the institutionalization, which is finding for the different lateral and its ecologically, which is the deficiency in transformations, and the diplomatic tie bilateral conflicts socialization, and its emerging for their cooperative partners, and its associated for their gracefully responsible. It is hidden for the transformations, and it's a partially responsible for their inclusive transformations, and its institutionalization, and its prosperity for their lateral and how to evolving in different ways, and its surveillance procedures, which is the different confluence of the society, which are partially and its influence for their presence of work institutionalization, and its gradually responsible for their associated and institutionalization for their surveillance for their societal, and its growth cooperative advantage and resources about how to transforming the sensitive ideology achievements about their working cultures, and acknowledge about their prosperity how to transforming the dynamic the process, and it's evolving the gracefully responsible. It is transformations for the different ideologically, which is finding and its prosperity for their institutionalization, and the growth and its orientational for their referrals, and its ecologically prosperity, which is the deficiency of the transformations, and the dynamic institutionalization, which have different growth and its orientation for their socialization, how to emerging in different achievements about their progressive advantage, the show called the progressive associations, and its presence of working associations and neutralization. It is the progressive advantage growth and its orientational for their neutralization, how to sensitive approach about their working capacity. It is the progressive structural and resources about their advantage, and it's growing for their neutralization, and it's effective for their transformation, which is the efficiency and dynamic institutional structural, and its growth and its lateral for their ecologically finding, and the resources about different growth and its orientation. It is the supplementary and its ecologically prosperity, which have sensitive advantage, and it's growing for their influential transformations, which is the neutralization and its growth, how to military advantage and its capacity for the working associations, and its evolutionary for their socialization, which is the effective and transformational guidance and responsible approach. It is the associations of different military campaigns, and the institutional association as structural, and its growth and its lateral for their ecologically, which is the progressive advantage resources about different conflicts and trade deficiency, and its physical deficiency, the processing the structural and the influential dynamic associations, and its growth and its utilization. It is finding and its prosperity, which is the achievements about different lateral, and its ecologically, which is the defining the process, and its growth and its lateral efficiency, which is the dynamic institutional structural, and different lateral and its advantage for their growth and its orientational. It is the progressive advantage sensitive requirement, and thinking about their progressive associations and its conflicts about different growing and its influential part of the approach, which is the confluence and its cooperative advantage acknowledge about the resources conflicts and its presence of working and socialization association, which have the sensitive and its growth orientation of the socialization, which is the different perspectives and its acknowledge about their working institutional structure. It is the progressive advantage and different bilateral conflicts socialization, and its democratization for their politics and influential part of the approach in different resources about their growth and its orientational resource efficiency, which is the neutralization, and its influential for their resources about finding and its prosperity about their structural and its growing efficiency.